The Dallas Mavericks totally shut down Victor Wembanyama in the season opener on Thursday night, holding him to just 17 points on 5 for 18 shooting with 4 turnovers. Let's take a look at how they did it. The first thing to know is that the Mavs were absolutely 1000% okay with Wemby shooting the ball from beyond the arc if that's what he wanted to do. He shot only 32.5% from deep during his rookie season, and he was actually worse than that off the catch. He only made 28.8% of his catch and shoot threes. So during this game, for the most part, if he wanted to fire away from deep, the Mavs pretty much just let him, even if that meant they got burned with a catch and shoot three like they did here. Things were a little bit different when it came to pick and rolls. For the most part, the Mavs wanted to switch those so they could make sure that Wemby didn't wind up with any airspace. And if he ended up with a mismatch, they'd send help, especially if that meant they could help off of Jeremy Sohan, who is, to be kind, not a threat to shoot. Sometimes that resulted in open threes, sometimes it even resulted in fouls. But it also resulted in Wemby having more bodies between himself and the basket, and they were willing to give up an open three to Jeremy Sohan if that's what it took. You want to fire away from the corner? Go right ahead. Dallas was also willing to live with what looked like some pretty disadvantageous mismatches just to avoid giving Wemby any sort of room where he could get himself a good shot. If he wants to go ahead and take turnaround jumpers from the nail over Quentin Grimes while fading away, have at it. A big part of the reason they were willing to do this is because they trusted their big men, especially Derek Lively, to handle themselves in space in the event that they got switched on to guards and wings. If your big can do that, then you can afford to send extra bodies at Wemby when it comes to crashing the offensive glass and prevent him from getting those boards. But the Mavs also switched things up a bit, especially if it looked like Wemby was going into the post. They tried what's called a kick-out switch. Watch what happens when Klay Thompson gets switched onto Wemby. Look at Daniel Gafford. He literally kicks Klay out of the post-up so that he can be the one guarding Wemby down there. Here it resulted in a goaltend because there was a miscommunication between Klay and PJ Washington behind it. And on another play, it resulted in a foul just because Gafford was a little bit late getting over, but at least they didn't give up easy baskets. When Wemby put the ball on the deck, the Mavs were extremely committed to getting multiple bodies around him. They wanted to dare him to either finish over a bunch of different players at the basket or else try to make a pass on the move, which isn't necessarily one of his strengths just yet. They were even doing this kind of thing when Wemby was getting into the paint without the ball. Dudes were literally reaching out to touch him with their hand like Gafford was here. There was just no way that he was getting into the lane without at least one Maverick reminding him that he was right there guarding him. Look how physical PJ Washington gets with him before Wemby just abandons the paint. Look at Derek Lively doing the same. He's practically hugging Wemby as the big guy moves his way up from the block to the elbow to set a ball screen, and then he challenges Keldon Johnson and forces a miss. The Mavs were even doing this when it looked like Wemby was just rolling to the rim to try to get an offensive rebound. Klay bumps him, Luka comes and boxes him out, Lively gets the board. They were so focused on this that sometimes they just forgot about their other responsibilities like Luka did here. He's so concentrated on getting near Wemby that he just totally abandons Keldon Johnson, who finds himself wide open in the corner for three. Then there were the post-ups. The first step was to deny the entry pass itself for as long as possible, make him catch the ball as far away from the basket as possible, and then make his shot as difficult as possible. If you could prevent the entry pass from happening altogether, that was even better. And then if you wind up freelancing into a pick and roll with a non-shooter like Stephon Castle, let him shoot it. In the event that he did get the ball in the post, the Mavs tried to make sure at all costs that they did two things. Absolutely do not let him get a free lane into the paint. Try to make him shoot a jumper. And when he does, do not go for any of his fakes. Stand your ground, stay down, make him shoot over you, and don't foul. All of these different things forced Wemby to have a tough night on the opening night of the season. Thank you for watching Last Night in Basketball. I'm Jared Dubin. Head on over to lastnightinbasketball.com and subscribe today.